I'm not done with high bottom brackets just yet. The more I watch Jack Carthy, Charlie Rolls, the more fun they make it look, the more I want to give it a try. And despite my dislike for high bottom brackets, I want to give it a good shot and see if it can be as fun as they make it look, even though realistically, I'm never going to get anywhere near their level. Now, you may notice this isn't the GT. The GT is no more. I will go into details why in a minute, but this bike is almost exactly the same geometry as the GT, so it should ride pretty much exactly the same. The only difference is this is actually a lot lighter, especially now that I've put lighter tires on it. A really good UK rider, Steve Rogers, suggested that I should try a shorter and lower stem, and I'm going to see if this actually fits me a little bit better than the setup I had before. First things first, I'm going to try and just do a wheel swap or a pigeon. If you're old school like me, just up and over this block here. Can't do this on a short bike. Struggled with this with high bottom brackets in the past. Can I do it on this one? Yeah, okay, that was pretty easy, even with the high bottom bracket, which can catch me out and stuff like this. The low bound stem definitely helps when you got your front wheel high. You're just kind of in a very natural position. So yeah, so far so good. But I think we can ramp this up a little bit. What about the other side of this block, which is well, considerably higher? Ooh. Okay, that is not going to work unless I can get my back wheel on the curb at the bottom. Front wheel's literally just floating. Gonna have to be a little bit sneaky. There's a gap here. I reckon if I can get my front wheel in there, hook it around the corner of this little nubbin, that might give me enough grip that I can lean back on and hopefully get up. There we go. It's amazing the difference a few centimeters made. That's maybe like 3 centimeters, and that made that a lot easier. So yeah, quite happy with that one. I wonder if I can do it without this little cheaty bit though. Gonna give it a few more tries and see how I get on. Oh, that's so much harder. Oh, oh, did not think that tire was gripping to that then. That caught me by surprise then. I didn't think I was going to get the pop for that, but we got over it. Wait, I've never been able to do that on any other bike, so that's quite impressive. Okay, now I've done those wheel swaps, which to be fair was a bit of an excuse to have a gentle warm-up, although I'm still actually really pleased I got them. I'm going to try my nemesis, the side op on this block, which I've done 100 times on other bikes, but yeah, never on a bottom bracket this high before. I'm pretty sure I can get it, but it's not going to be the easiest. Oh. Accuracy wasn't the best then, almost went kind of too far over to my left. Now, I don't know whether it's just because I'm getting used to high bottom bracket or whether this different balance stem actually does fit me a lot better, or whether this bike being about 800 grams lighter than the GT. I don't know which one of those it is, but that was the easiest I've ever side up that to rear wheel. So I'm actually really happy with that. Again, not the biggest side up in the world, but for me being on a high bottom bracket who's always struggled with side ups, really happy with that one. So far, this is all going pretty smoothly, a little too smoothly, so let's mix things up a little bit with a trick or move that I know I struggle with. And that's a wheel swap, so landing on my front wheel, swapping to back wheel. I really struggle with this move on longer bikes, and if I don't make it, I'm going over the handlebars or the down tube smacking into that, and either way, is going to be highly entertaining for you guys. Yeah, this isn't huge, so getting the front wheel up is absolutely no problem at all. I just can't quite dare swap to back. To get a little geeky on you guys, on my inspired Hex with the short wheelbase, it's quite easy just to go real steep on the front wheel and then just swap to back wheel. On a bike like this, because you've got your weight so far forward, it almost feels like you're basically having to do a handstand jump to jump the bike like that. Whereas I've been told the technique is more keep your back wheel low and swap from that position, which kind of goes against everything I've always known about wheel swaps. It's so hard. Well, colour me surprised. Again, not the biggest thing in the world, but for me, learning this new technique on a new bike, I'm actually pretty happy with that. Especially with it having a drop on the other side, there's always that mental aspect. You don't want to go over the bars, but yeah, wasn't the prettiest, but I got it. All right, I'm actually just trying to back wheel this because it's got a high bomb bracket. Again, getting into a bit of a geekery situation here. The timing is really weird. There's actually so much power you can put down with the long bike, long reach, low bound stem, but the timing is just so different. You have to put the power down at a point where you think you're still going to go with the handlebars, but just trust that the bike will go to back wheel instead. But if you get the timing right, it's insane how much power and just upwards lift you get. I just need to try and tame it, which I will right now. Whoop. Right, well, yeah, that's a really hard technique to do on a high bottom bracket bike. Doesn't help that I've not done a pedal hop up an object for years since riding a Hex because I just bunny hop everything. But yeah, once it goes up, it does fly up, but I'll be struggling to do anything much higher than that at the minute. Need a lot more practice, methinks. Whew, it's warm today. Do you guys remember when Jack Carthy came here and really easily did the gap from that one to back wheel? That's insane. I've managed it to front wheel before, but honestly, gapping to front wheel on such an extreme bike, I'm not really sure if I can even dare myself to try this, but I'm gonna get set up and just generally see how these bollards and maybe the gap feels. I can tell you now that that gap is not happening to either wheel. Basically feels like I'm about to gap to my face, which I'm sure would actually happen if I tried that. So ending this little bit in disappointment, but we'll go somewhere else, see if I can find something else interesting to do. Hoping I haven't bitten off more than I can chew here. The last time I came and rode these gaps on a high bottom bracket bike was that Adamant A2, which the video title was the worst bike I've ever ridden because I couldn't do anything on that. I remember trying this gap, well technically it's a gap over there, but there's someone sleeping on it, and just not being able to do it at all. But that bike did have a much taller bound stem, much more relaxed handlebars, and it had a really heavy back tire which just sucked up all the spring, and I actually really struggled to gap that bike. This bike has a lot more spring, it's a lot lighter, so I'm going to see if I can do it. However, looking at it right now, it looks massive, and it still looks massive. I actually do think this one is bigger than that one. Oh, it's a long way. That is a long way. Oh. I've moved on to a new spot because it was lunchtime in the city centre next to the river with some greenery. It got absolutely mobbed by everyone on their lunch breaks. I did manage to do the lower or smaller gap, but there was a guy literally staring at me the entire time, so I was a little bit self-conscious to talk to camera, so I didn't actually do too much filming. So I've moved on to a gap which I came to on the pace, and I tried to static gap this and absolutely got nowhere near it. So let's see what a couple of decades difference in bike geometry can do to get me across this gap. Still looks really big, actually. Don't know why I was thinking of doing this or trying this on the pace, not that I got anywhere near it, but come on, high bottom bracket, extreme bike, let's get across this gap. Right, it's about time I should probably tell you what am I actually riding here. Well, this is a Rockman Gabbro 2. I actually don't like that name at all. It doesn't roll off the tongue, but that's what it is. This is Gilles Castellier's signature model from back in the day. I don't know when this frame was around, maybe about 2012 to 14, something like that. But Gilles Castellier is one of the best trials riders to ever exist, French rider. And yeah, this bike was, I guess, his signature model from Rockman, which is a brand that sadly isn't around anymore. Their bikes were always kind of high bottom bracket, some really unique designs as well, but super, super lightweight. These tubes are very, very thin. They're not the stiffest bikes in the world, even with the extra bracing, but my word, they're lightweight. There are two changes which I've kind of hinted at before. I changed the tires on this bike. This is a Schwalbe Hands Dampf, which I've had before. This is modified to save weight and just get more grip from the tread design. It's about 300 grams lighter than the tire I had on before. I'm more likely to get punches with this tire, but it's got a lot more spring to it. And to save weight on the front, rather than the old trial tire, which was quite chunky, I've gone for a Monty race tire, which I actually don't know how much that weighs, but it's not very much. And all in all, this bike now weighs 8.2 kilos. So yeah, the geometry is the same, but the extra weight saving and springy tire is actually making quite a big difference. Well, this place has got a little bit more overgrown when I was last here on the modified Onza. You ever heard of maintenance? Just had one guy in the house there have a bit of a go at me. He said he's going to call the police for me riding on these. As long as I just touch my tires, there's no damage. Last time I came here, I managed to side up that one, but I'm wondering whether I can take advantage of the high bottom bracket and front rim brake or just general bike setup to hook over this one, go to both wheels, because I don't think I'll be able to get to back wheel, and then go. I'm feeling like my control isn't quite good enough to do the entire line, but if I can just get up and over this one before the police come, then yeah, I'd be happy enough with that. Oh. You brought me to show your dog? That's a cute dog, man.
Why would you think it was cool to jump on something that somebody's built 50 years ago?
Well,
and it's part of the local area?
Why isn't it cool?
What?
Why isn't it cool?
Because why would you think it was alright to damage something that's not yours?
Like, if you show me some damage, man, I'll be happy to talk
Why
it with
would you want, like, so would you go on your sofa with your bike and jump on it and it wouldn't damage it?
I have to. I actually have to.
I don't need to justify it. It's illegal what you're doing anyway, so good luck filming because we're going to be standing here.
I mean, I'm going to try it, and if I hit you, then it'd be like the Simpsons episode when I'm like...
I wouldn't advise it. That's all I say to you, because...
The thing I say to people is, you'll get over it, dude. Is it that big of an issue that in like a week's time I still
come into your area and something that's historically amazing, come back from him, when it's something that's historically and you think, oh, do you know what, we did cool, just jump on my bike.
Like, do you shout at children if they're climbing on it? Do you shout at anyone who's
No,
doing
because they don't have the sensory thing, and it's no bike, so they're not going to be like, one will jump on it with like a firework or a stick or something. Right. But yeah, absolutely, if somebody was damaging it, then... But as I say, it's fine, I've phoned the police, so we can just wait on them. I don't think they'll find it waiting their time.
Well, we'll see.
See, honestly, that comes me, I'm telling you, the new fight.
Dude, I think you are just overreacting like an absolute madman.
Honestly, see, that touches me.
No, you just touched me then, dude.
I'm telling you now. Yeah, can I have the police, please? Yeah, there's somebody trying to assault me with a bike.
Guess there's not much I can do. Sometimes you get people like this, so I'm gonna move on.
Yeah, there's a guy jumping on the rocks and assaulting with his bike.
It's all on camera, dude. I never touched you. You touched me, I think you find.
Yeah, he's vandalising the local area. I don't know, he looks in his 30s, but he's jumping about in a bike.
Oh, I wish.
Right, no, it's there, it's happening just now, if you could, because I'm in fear of
well, you can tell him I'm going to move on, but I'm literally just going to move on to that bit down there if he wants to talk to me.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, do you want to give your name?
Well, I haven't had someone kick up that much of a fuss for years and years and years. Actually, I don't think I've ever had someone literally just come out and phone the police on me. There's not really much I can do about that. He was pretty determined to stop me trying riding on those rocks, and he claimed I assaulted him when actually he's the one who pushed my bike away. I was tempted to hang around, see what the police say, but I've actually just moved on a little bit, literally just a few hundred meters up that way is where it was. If the police come, they come. But until then, I've got some gaps to try. I did this gap on my T-Rex and the one after. I'm sorry for the repetition, but gapping on a high bottom bracket bike is different enough for me to want to try this again. And I'm wondering whether this bike could allow me to do an up to front across, maybe not on this one, but there's certainly a gap down at the bottom, which I was trying on the old Onza and I couldn't get, so maybe I could get it on this bike. But I need to warm up again, so let's send these gaps and see how they are on the high bottom bracket bike, and then see if I get arrested. Oh, I'm actually quite surprised I didn't make that then. I actually held back a little bit because I thought, oh, I got this no problem. Only just. The really cool thing about real small frames like this is you can really kind of get your weight all the way down to try and save stuff. Can't do that with a bigger frame. Right, well, I've successfully managed to do a line which I did on a 20-year-old bike with old school geometry on a new school geometry bike. Progress, maybe. There's got to be some more stuff I can do here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to up the ante a little bit. Rather than taking off from the lower one, I'm going to try it from the bigger one. Now, coming down from a height makes it easier, but that is quite a big distance extra to have to gap. So, no idea if I can do this or not, but we're soon going to find out. And that suddenly looks massive. Joachim would do this on his Hex. Oh, that is actually really far. Right, I don't think I can do this, but I don't know, big effort, maybe. Oh, not too far off. I kind of chickened out a little bit halfway through that. Oh, come on. I'm holding back. Oh, not only have I got a lightweight tire, I've also got one of the Schwalbe Aerothan tubes in the back. Super lightweight things. Just waiting for that to go. Oh, how do I stop that brake from slipping? Here's me blaming the brake, but it's pretty much definitely just I'm not making the distance. Oh, nowhere near. Oh, how's that brake slipping? Oh, every time the brake slips. I hope it at least looks big on camera. Oh, right, that was definitely the brake then because I was on top of that. Oh, no. Oh, man. Why didn't I get that then? Oh, no. Nowhere near. come on. Tell you what guys, I've got one complaint about these Tratec levers. I'm surprised that it's actually got this thing to complain about, but the back of the lever is actually quite sharp and I keep on cutting my knuckle on it. For a trials brake, I just thought it would have had a smooth back to it. I need to add some Sugru to that, but Tratec, maybe you should make that solid and smooth. Oh no! Oh. Oh. Am I just not good at this, or is that a long way? I'm hoping that's a long way. Please look good on camera. I knew that wasn't going to happen. Oh, why did that brake slip then? I had that. Every time. No, that's a fail. So frustrating because I had two where I actually did land on it, then I had my weight too far back. Can I gap this bike further than a low bottom bracket bike? No, I think I'm pretty level pegging. I don't think I could do the big one on a low bottom bracket. But one thing I do like about the high bottom bracket is how easy it is to set up, and when you do land them, how controlled it is on the back wheel. Sometimes the low bottom bracket bike, you land and you might not have enough control to keep it on the back wheel. So yeah, I'd rather have the high bottom bracket than not for gaps like this, but today this one's just too big for me. I just watched back some of the clips of me trying that gap and it looks so small. I definitely feel explosive when I'm doing these gaps, but watching them back, I'm actually looking quite lethargic. I think I need to get to the gym and work on my explosiveness and lose a few pounds, because I've definitely gained it this last few years. I've got another gap I'm going to try which will probably look equally small, and I probably won't be able to get this one either, and that's the Spirit Alley. I have had some people saying I should believe in myself more, be more confident, but I like to think of myself as a realist. I'm not pessimistic, I'm not optimistic, I'm a realist. I should probably mention the gap is this way up to front wheel. So gap to front wheel on this bike could be really good, or it could be really horrible. I might get surprised, or I might not make the gap, which is kind of how I'm feeling at the minute. Oh, especially when I now look at this gap. Oh my word, that's a long way. Am I just being really unrealistic here? So the issue is, I watch people like Jack Carthy, Charlie Rolls send these absolute massive gaps, and I'm like, oh, I'm a trials rider. I used to do comps, I used to do pretty well. I should probably be able to do something like that. And I think those guys just make it look too easy. And actually, when you look at stuff on a camera or on a screen, on a computer, on a video, things always seem smaller. So you think, you see them do a gap, that looks reasonably big, but then you go and see it in person and it's like absolutely massive. So here I'm thinking, oh yeah, I can do big gaps. And then I'm like, nah, I think I've just been spoilt rotten by being able to watch some of the best riders in the world do stuff really easily. So yeah, reality's slightly different. But I'm not scared of looking rubbish, or am I? I am scared of sending this to front and just not making it though. Right, front puncher, here we go. Okay, maybe. Oh man, that brake just did not care about stopping then. Oh, right. If you get more in the corner, the brake does hold, but the more force is going through your body. My word, when there's no flex in the system and you're literally sending it straight to front wheel, there's a lot of force that goes through your shoulders. It's all good, it's all good.
Still your line right there. Hello.
Hi there. Oh, we're getting there. Oh, why didn't that bike go forwards then? Right, did not get my weight forward then at all. Oh, so in the last probably year and a half to 2 years, with my chronic neck pain, especially last year where I didn't actually ride too much and actually started to maybe comfort eat a little bit too much, I gained about 12 or 13 kilos. And that is the heaviest I've ever been. So I've been about 73, 74 kilos pretty much my entire adult life. And suddenly I was in my kind of high 80s. Yeah, no good. I'm currently 83 and a bit kilos. So if I can drop 9 to 10 kilos, or maybe even 8 or 7 or 8, I'd be happy with that. And I think that would make a big difference to my explosive ability. One weird thing with the weight gain was that so many people started to say that I looked really buff and like really quite built. And I hadn't been going to the gym or anything. I'd been actually doing the opposite. I'd been riding less and doing less exercise, but suddenly I looked way more ripped. And it came, well, I realized that it purely was, I just put on way more body fat, which has kind of just made everything look a bit bigger. But yeah, I've not put on any muscle. There is muscle underneath here, but it's, yeah, a lot of body fat is making that look bigger than it is. So if I can lose that body fat, that the muscle I've got has less work to do. So over this winter, you're going to see a new Ali, a leaner, fittier, happier Ali. In my 40s, it's time to get buff. First, I need to get across this gap. Oh, the back wheel. You know what that was? That was me getting caught out by the high bottom bracket, because I thought my back wheel was in a different space than it, well, in a different position in space than it was. Wow, that is so frustrating. Oh, there we go, eh? Oh. Fan-bloody-tastic. I honestly, when I first set up for that, did not think I was going to be able to get that gap. And there's no way I'd be able to get that on any other bike. Don't know what it is, maybe it's the bus. The just general setup of this bike has allowed me to do this gap to front wheel, and I'm very, very happy with that. Maybe I should be an optimist. Oh, that is hard work on the shoulders, I tell thee though. Right, I'm just down from the rocks where the guy kicked off earlier, and we have another rock. This one's actually a bit of an art piece. It's supposed to stick your head in the hole there, hum, and it kind of like you get your resonant frequency and it all goes through your body. But I'm more interested in trying to ride up and over this rock. Now I'd love to come from it from that side, tap up it. I even think on a mountain bike it'd be pretty fun, but there is a plaque explaining the vibration thing directly in the way, which is really annoying. So I'm gonna see if I can get up this side of it, which is definitely the harder side because it's like a knife edge on top, but I reckon if I can hook my front wheel over just the right spot, and well, I might be able to get this. I also might get arrested, but I'll give it a good few goes. If I don't get it, I don't get it. Maybe I'll just come back another day, but yeah, we'll try, or I'll try. You can watch. And suddenly this looks really big. Oh man, as soon as I walked away, turned around and looked at this when I was on the bike, I suddenly realized that this is really, really big. Especially when it's got a downhill run up and I'm a bit nervous about even lifting the front end on this bike. Oh, you're telling me that I can't actually get up any side of this rock? That's gonna be really frustrating if that's the case. Oh, why did they have to put that sign exactly there? Oh man, lifting that front end down, lifting that front end up downhill, it's really horrible. Right, I'm not going to waste my time. I cannot get up that, and I know that for a fact. It's not a case of, oh, you're not confident, Ali. Yeah, no, I know my abilities to the extent I know I'm not getting up that. That's frustrating. I wanted to get up at least one of these rocks today. Right. Okay, I think I've done enough riding for one day. It might not be the longest video in the world, but I've actually been riding for quite a while, and this bike is hard work, but it's actually really, really cool. I don't know whether it is the shorter bar and stem or the lighter weight, whatever it is, but I actually really do like how this bike rides. I know a lot of people, when I posted a picture of this bike on Instagram, said that this was one of the best riding bikes they'd ever had. And I can kind of see why. I've actually been quite surprised with some of the things I can do in this bike. There's definitely a few things I still struggle with, but I think that even though this isn't the type of bike I'm used to, with a bit of practice, it'd be capable of quite a lot. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Certainly hope you enjoyed watching me ride more than the guy earlier did. I'll be back next week. I'm not too sure what it will be. I got some news that my mountain bikes were finished, so fingers crossed we can get those on the channel ASAP. There's still maybe a couple of things I'm waiting on, but it won't be long. I know I've been keeping you waiting for a while. But yeah, hope you all have an amazing week, and I'll catch you next time. So take care, everyone. Goodbye.